Well, good morning, everyone. Super exciting to be back for another live stream. I am, let's start with a couple little updates. A little tired, getting ready to go to New York today, which I'm going to New York for our first stop on the I'm Over It tour. So if you have not yet checked to see when I'll be in your city, be sure to check that out because I'd love to meet a lot of you in person. New York's going to be a really fun event, so you'll get to see some shots of those. Again, here's kind of just the list of that. If you go into sort of a private browser, if you're logged into Teachable for some reason, it doesn't always show up. Oh, look, I got another angle now too. But anyway, you could go through here and you'll find that. I'm going to a bunch of locations. So I look forward to seeing you there. We're doing the first stop this Saturday in New York. And yeah, excited for that. The next thing that I wanted to just quickly hit is one of the reasons I'm been somewhat tired, and one of the reasons we ended up having to cancel Tuesday's live stream is because the real estate agent course has now completely been recorded, which I'm also super excited about. So if you are a real estate agent, make sure to email me for a bundle coupon if you're not yet already a part of the real estate agent group. That's it for sort of updates. In the meantime, now let's get into kind of what's going on in the marketplace and some other good stuff. So first things first, this was very interesting. And this is going to be good for, I think, all of us to have in the back of our mind. Right now, the Wall Street Journal on their homepage is running an article. I don't think that'll ever focus, but investors are buying more of the U.S. housing market than ever before. And it's just really interesting. But I'll just read you a couple of the first little paragraphs here. Investor purchases of U.S. homes have climbed to an all-time high, a sign that rising home prices have done little to dampen demand for flipping homes or turning them into rentals. Big private equity firms, real estate speculators, and others are buying properties comprised of more than 11% of U.S. home purchasers in 2018. And then they say investor purchases are at the highest level on record and nearly twice the levels before the 2008 crash. Wanted to just mention some implications of that. In my opinion, a big implication of that is the fact that we're not really seeing any kind of solid softening to really suggest that big equity firms or investors should be concerned about investing. There are obviously some signs right now that the global economy is slowing down. But interestingly, even though that's happening, more and more people seem to be dumping money into real estate. So something interesting to kind of keep in mind in the background. So what else do we have as far as, oh yeah, Federal Reserve, he decides to keep rates stable. I think they signaled this coming. So I really think this wasn't much of a surprise. So I don't think it's any concern for us. A lot of us, I know, were hoping for a rate drop, but I don't want to see a rate drop too fast, because another thing that could happen too is they drop rates too fast. You introduce too much volatility to the market. And I think we've already had enough volatility. Interestingly enough, according to our handy dandy Zillow chart, again, I don't know if that'll ever load. I could screenshot and send it over. According to our handy dandy Zillow chart, even despite the Fed announcement that they're keeping rates, and this was another Wall Street Journal update, S&P on track to be at its highest level in years. Anyway, so far so good. I mean, rates are still stable right now. Zillow's telling us they're at 4.049. So I'm excited overall for the marketplace. I think it's a great time to lock in 30 rate finance. Uh, Usually only recommend that 15-year financing again if you're trying to go into payoff mode and the acquiring phase where you're really trying to build that circle. So let's get into questions that we have today in Discord. I'll pull up really quick that rate chart. I just airdropped it over. So let's see here. Here's our little chart. And how do I do this now? It's like now I'm rusty with the screen switching. So there we go. I made it work. And then I think I could do this. Okay, so you get me on the side angle there. I got to fix the picture-in-picture thing, but that's okay. So here's the little chart. So yeah, this right here, this tiny little spike over here from like 3.9, which was super low, to 4.049 or whatever it is now. This was sort of the volatility we saw right before the Fed announcement. And then the Fed announcement that they'd keep rates the same for now. So not much of a massive impact to be concerned with. All right, great. So now let's hit some questions we've got in Discord. I'm going to answer your questions in live as well. So go ahead and post those questions. And we're going to go ahead and go through some more. There were a few that I really wanted to hit on here. Let's find them again. One of the first ones I wanted to share was one of the course members posted a question about, hey, does a certain amount of handyman work and that pricing for that handyman work seem reasonable? And so I thought it'd be a good idea to take a quick glance at that because I was actually very optimistic about what I saw in his proposal. I also wanted to touch on solar roof from Tesla. So we'll pull that quickly. I believe that was from our renovations. Oh, yes. And this with the cabinets. Right. So I went through this yesterday just to sort of have a preview of what I wanted to talk about. Take a peek at this. All right, here we go. So let's jump on over to the screen. First of all, huge shout out to the course member Manny here for talking about these cabinets. We talk in our live streams a lot about these kind of cabinet, painting cabinets, the original oak cabinets to transforming them to a different color. And this kit, I mean, it looks amazing what he was able to do with wiped on cabinets. And over here, you really got that painted, finished, or sprayed look. I mean, really beautiful. It goes to show what you could do with older cabinets. And I'll tell you, there's pretty much no house that was built before 19 or probably even 2005 that doesn't need painted cabinets. Get rid of that oak kind of look. So another question I wanted to hit was Quang had a question here in the Discord about his sister buying a condo in a very hot market and not being sure what kind of flooring to install. And I think we've covered this a lot, but I just want to make it very clear. The flooring to go with right now is the luxury vinyl plank. It's all the rage. It's in. I think it's going to stay in for a while just because of the scratch resistance, the waterproof. I don't have waterproof aspects to it. I don't even think I was extreme in the lectures as I want to be now in saying the vinyl, we literally got a box of the vinyl and we took a key and just tried to gouge the vinyl plank as much as we could. So we took the key to it and just with the straight ad, gouged that key in there and nothing happened. I was like, I could do this porcelain tile and the tile would scratch. Hardwood floor would eat it up like butter. Laminate floor would tear. This stuff, nothing happened. Just wow. You'd think I was like a salesperson for the luxury vinyl industry. I'd love to get some affiliate referrals, but no, I'm just honestly blown away. All right, so course member Nelson here is wondering if a quote that he got is reasonable to prepare. Looks like a property for a rental. He's getting ready for a tenant. Let's take a quick look at it together here. We'll jump on over. Look at this. We got rescreen backsliding door, $50. Repaint 3 bedrooms, 1 master bath, $405. Repaint main house, including guest bath, low. I have no. So I numbers are great. Now, keep in mind that I have a little bit of a California hat on when it comes to pricing, but still, the way I like to look at it is you just go labor and materials and try to backwards math on an hourly rate here, even right. So let's go back here to this. Repaint 3 bedrooms to cut it in. I mean, if you're using the same color and the bathroom to not get overspray, I mean, you're still talking about a good day of work here, and probably somewhere around, $75 in materials to $100 in materials. So, hey, you know what? Somebody working for the $250 or $300 day, if they get it all done to do all 3 bedrooms in the day, that's reasonable to me. Repaint the front house. I mean, this seems incredibly low to repaint the front house. I mean, honestly, this is just like a liability waiting to happen. It's like the proposal's not very thorough at all, right? And this is something I talk about in the course where we talk about, hey, thorough bids are good, but repaint main house, are you talking about the inside? Are we talking about the outside? Are we talking about both the inside or the outside? Overall, not offended at all by this being a quote. I mean, to me, it looks like I can't obviously see the entire quote, but they're probably not a licensed contractor, so it's probably just a handyman knocking out some of these things. But none of the numbers were very offensive. But with the exception of maybe replace towel bar holder and guest bath, but I'm not going to nitpick when he's charging so little on paint. You see replace towel bar holder and guest bath, $60. I mean, come on. We know it's, $15 for a towel bar holder, and what's it going to take you? Now, flip side is if it doesn't line up with where the previous towel bar holder was, now he's got to do the drywall repair, and it turns into a lot more of a job. So definitely some things to consider and keep in mind. So let's see what questions we have as well here in the live, and we'll do some deal analysis as well. So metal, let's see, you guys are talking. That's awesome. All right, what do we got? So I've used Rust-Oleum, didn't know they had a whole kit. Yeah, Rust-Oleum as a brand is great, especially for spray paints. I see them a lot. It can be a little bit more expensive sometimes, but kits can be great. So yeah, all right, let's see. I finally have time to join a live stream. It would be nice to be able to look at. Yeah, I'm definitely going to go through deal analysis here. I know I've got a little bit of a backlog because I missed Tuesday, so we won't be able to probably get to all of them. Let's hit a couple more of the questions that I know I wanted to hit from. I think we had tenants and financing. We had some questions. Here we go. Okay, so take a look at this one here. Let's do, here we go. What are the best and easiest ways to collect rents from tenants while house hacking? Yeah, so not a bad question. So rents while house hacking, something that I would probably do as well. First thing is I wouldn't tell anybody that I was the landlord. I would say that, I'm working with the landlord. The landlord wants all of his rents or whatever sent to it. He gives me a little between us, that discount is free, right? It gives me a little bit of a discount to live in the property and kind of help manage it because I'm here. I'm kind of like his on-site manager, but I'm not the landlord. This is going to separate you from, being the owner, which is very important when you're managing property and collecting rent. And you know what? Everybody just has to mail their rent to a PO box or whatever. That's probably the way I do it. Or you could even say, hey, you know what, leave it in the kitchen and I'll drop it off to the landlord or whatever. And you happen to go to the bank when you go collect that money. That's probably the way I would do that. Remember, when you're house hacking, you're renting out other bedrooms in a house oftentimes, or if you are multifamily hacking, you're renting out other units. But even then, I don't want any tenant ever knowing that I'm a landlord. So another question we had here was, to add on to house hacking, do we qualify the tenant as if they're renting the whole property? How do we charge for the utilities? Should we always get a weekly maid? No, I think it's tenant's responsibility to keep their own areas clean. I don't think you qualify the tenant for the entire property if you're house hacking, because in your lease, you're qualifying them and you're saying in their lease that they're only allowed access to one bedroom with maybe shared access of whatever else. And usually in these situations, people will have a sort of set per diem. That is, you pay $50 extra per month for utilities and everything's just covered. Or, you figure out what the total is and divide it by 3 or 4 or whatever it is every single month. That's obviously a little bit more work intensive. But as far as furnishing each room, sometimes it makes sense to furnish each room with a bed. It's not a terrible idea to not have other people bringing their mattresses in. Like you said, bed bugs would be a reasonable fear to have. So I absolutely agree with you. All right, some more questions. Let's see here. Let's talk about, okay, we talked about that. So Mark has a few questions here in financing. So let's hit financing. We're going to get into deal analysis shortly here. So we got some financing questions. In the last live, you shared rates on Zillow. I always look at them, Zillow rates. Yeah, when shopping for rates, how do these rates compare? So I usually find that these Zillow rates that I use on the phone, the Zillow mortgage calculator app, are usually about 0.25% lower than what I actually expect to get in the marketplace. So, hey, Sam, if you put an offer, make sure you use that in deal analysis, because I'm going to go to deal analysis escrows. I'll go through that in about 2 minutes here. So, yeah, keep in mind those rates about 0.25% off. We talked about asking for the 0 rate when we're shopping for lenders. This is back from lecture 6.7. Like you said in the video, this might not tell us who can offer the most expensive loan or the cheapest loan. Do I ever ask for the APY? Does it even make a difference? I usually don't. What I like to do is I'll ask for, because I like to keep things very simple, And the APR, APY is going to confuse more people than it's going to help, in my opinion. It's too easy to manipulate, especially since sometimes you get like escrow fees and some other fees that some people include in the APR, some don't include. There's a little bit of an issue because it's not as transparent as it should be, in my opinion. Maybe it's changed, but I do it the old school way. The old school way, when you're shopping for rates, folks, is you ask 2 or 3 different lenders on the same day. Hey, would you mind sending me what your rates would be today if I locked a 30-year fixed rate loan on a single family house? You know, my credit score already, whatever, 740 plus, whatever it is. And I want to know it. You send that email to 3 different lenders on the same day. Then you want to get that back. You also want to see, okay, in that email, you're going to ask, very curious to see what your 0-point rate is. So that way you see what those rates are today. And you can kind of compare, okay, this lender's 4%, this one's 4.15, 125, whatever, and then 4.25. Great. So now you have this comparison. And the second question you really want to put in that email is, first one being what's the 0-point rate, third one being, or next question being, what are your other additional lending fees? I'm not interested in title or escrow. I just want to know what the other in-house fees are. Those are going to be underwriting fees, processing fees, loan origination. Loan origination is usually points, but they usually have these other junk fees in there. Processing, appraisal review, underwriting fees, all that stuff. Those are kind of the junk fees that get thrown in there that really mess up your comparison between lenders. And if you have those different fees, you can compare them side by side. Does the prime rate have anything to do with the 30-year fixed rate loans? In my opinion, no. I mean, the prime rate is the Wall Street Journal prime, which really only has to do with revolving lines of credit. Usually you're going to see that in the home equity line of credit space. Sometimes you see LIBOR used. It's just another way to say, okay, if interest rates are this, we're charging you this for your home equity line of credit. See, if the Fed drops rates, the prime is going to go down and the rates on my home equity lines of credit are going to go down, which is great because they're variable. So as far as 30-year fixed rate loans, not to my knowledge, but obviously there's a margin above the Fed discount rate anyway. All right, what else do we have? I think we've got another question in a general chat here, and then we'll look at the live. So if you got a question on live, post there. And then what we're going to do is hop on over to some deals. So I wanted to touch on the solar roof today. The solar roof, let's go ahead and pull up that article. Let's see where it was. Here it is. So the solar roof and the price on the solar roof, let me just make this very, very clear. I'm not a fan of anybody leasing solar or doing a power purchase agreement on solar. Let's just give you the straight up bottom line. The value of your property goes down if you have a lease or a power purchase agreement on your property. So don't do that. If you want to buy the system, that's fine. But I'm blown away, in my opinion, that a 9.45 kilowatt system costs $64,000 for a Tesla solar system. It's mind blowing to me. Why is it mind blowing? Yes, you get a roof and a solar system in one, but a 9.4 kilowatt system in a competitive space of solar today is probably going to cost in my opinion closer to somewhere around maybe $35,000, and a roof's going to cost somewhere around $10,000 if you go with a regular composition shingle roof, and we're going with everything having a 30-year lifespan anyway. So to me, you're overpaying for the Tesla system probably by a solid 20, possibly even $30,000, depending how you look at it and what kind of pricing you can negotiate on your solar and your roof work. Which the $65,000 quote. Look at this. Oh my gosh, I didn't even notice this. Look at this. You get the difference in look, but I mean, come on. Not for the money. It's not worth it. Look at this. It's actually $64,000 for the roof. Plus, you probably want the power wall, but I'm going to remove that because we want to compare apples to apples. The roof and site repairs, $10,600. So really, we're talking about a purchase price of somewhere around $75,000. You're easily overpaying to have solar technology at today's date and a new roof, probably by a factor of 2 to 1 with the Tesla solar system. So not very exciting delighted by the Tesla roof, honestly. Probably merits a special video on its own. Let's see, what else do we have? So I think we had one more question here that I wanted to hit. So let's see here. Oh, escalation clauses. We'll make a separate video on escalation clauses. A little bit complicated when you're out there using escalation clauses in your offers. Let's check if you guys have any questions here in the live, and then we'll do a so questions here in the live. Let's see here. It's a Dutch. Okay. Hey, I finally have time to join the live stream. Okay, yeah, I'm gonna try to get to yours. Hopefully you posted that on the Discord. I'm wondering if I should just sell. My neighborhood is sizzle hot. My neighbors sell super house. Sell and rents, but not getting calls or apps yet. Okay, so Metal, give me a little bit of clarity here. You have a property that you're trying to rent out. You're wondering if you should just sell it. And this is the property that I think you linked here. Is this your home rental listing? So the big thing is, let's just look at that because it's not really a deal analysis, but just kind of interesting for you guys. So, first thing first, I'm just looking at your ad here. I would not blow my phone number over it. I mean, I know why you're doing it because there's so many like Craigslist scammers these days, but it does make it a little bit difficult to really see the property. I mean, in every picture, that's very front of mind. The pictures look fine. I mean, you could probably do a few more here. I don't know. I mean, this is it looks like you got a condo here. Living spaces and the citrus trees outside. Well, where are the pictures of the citrus trees? The 1,600 square foot home. It looks, the way this doesn't feel like a home. The way the photos are, it feels like it's a condo because there are no pictures of the outside, the inside. So that could be hurting you. The other thing is make sure you're okay in terms of what you're actually, yeah, this is a single family house. Make sure you're good in terms of your rental costs, because if you're listing it for $13.50 but everything else is renting for $12.95, then you want to make sure that you're listing it for an appropriate amount, because if you're not getting applications and you're not getting qualified phone calls, then something's wrong. And oftentimes, if it's not marketing, what is it? It's price. It's what we talk about in the agent course all the time. If it's not marketing, it's price. We should all know how to market correctly. Okay, so I'm wondering if I should just, so if you're wondering if you should just sell, I mean, I think you might be throwing in the towel early. I think before you decide you want to sell and you pay 7-8% to sell a property, why not consult a property manager? I mean, if you have a property that's worth even $250,000, you pay 7 to 8% to sell. That's that's somewhere around $17,000 to $20,000. That could pay for a lot of months of property management. In fact, if you spent $20,000, you had to pay a property manager $150 a month to manage the place for you. Realize that's 11 years of property management that you have built in just for not selling. Should I house hack if I can live at my parents for free? I mean, if you can live at your parents for free, it's a great way to build up a down payment. Probably just diving into real estate once you have a little bit more of a reserve. But what I usually do is, if you find a good deal, I would recommend, if you're looking at mom and dad's, you find a good deal, you jump on that deal, even if that means you move into it while you fix it up. You go into certain rooms, get some rooms ready to house hack, whatever, rent it out to roommates. In the meantime, you know what you're doing? You're doing baseboards, you're doing, some more, a second bathroom or whatever, not the one the other tenants are using. And you kind of get the feeling for doing some work in the property while at the same time having the benefit of homeowner occupant financing, which to me is just the greatest hack to wealth right now. And at the same time getting some experience and getting your property remodeled while also house hacking. You could always move back in with mom and dad and rent the whole thing out when you're done, and then now you're not defrauding the lender at the same time either. All right, let's do a deal analysis here. So Adam says, update on the deal. He secured it for a $205,000 offer with the seller putting $3,000 down for closing. Lender got me 4% with 3% down, as well as a 1 point in lender credit. I mean, that sounds amazing, first of all. So get this, folks. Somebody's buying a house for 3% down at a 4% interest rate. Obviously, there's going to be mortgage insurance on this, but still, he's getting 1 point back in lender credit. That's $2,000 in lender credits coming back. Now, after talking to a couple agents and talking through the deal, a few other people have said, let's just hit the screen share really quick, because we hit this deal because it was on a busy road last year. So you guys want to see this here. A few other people have said, in general, the road does hurt the value, but not as much as I originally thought. It might drop 10 to 15K of the wedge, but not the quite full 10%. This is part because the part of the main road isn't actually used very much. So this is great. Not a bad idea when you're in doubt about how much of a yeah, but something is. You can always ask, other realtors and other agents. The problem is you have to be careful because you could be, sort of what I call poisoning the well or priming the people you're talking to. So, if you phrase the question of, you go into, let's say, an open house in an area and you're thinking about writing an offer on a deal, and you go into another agent's open house and you say something like, hey, I saw this deal hit the market on this and this street. What do you think of a property like that? And maybe make it clear first that the one you're in is not the one you're interested in. So that way the agent doesn't try to sell you just on that one you're in. But think about the psychological aspect of asking the question one of two ways here. Hey, agent, what do you think of this property over here? I saw it online. I don't know much about it. I know it's on a busy road, though. How much do you think that's going to affect the resale value? Oh, that busy road, it's actually not that busy. It's not that bad, maybe $10,000, $15,000. If you get an answer like that, hey, you know what? You're probably good. But if you go into these other agent scenarios and you go, I'm struggling, I'm in escrow on a place and I really like the place. I think it's a good deal. I'm really excited for it. I'm just concerned that the road value hurts. If you prime that way, it's going to be hard to get, in my opinion, legitimate feedback because now the people, A, don't want to hurt your feelings, and B, they're going to try to sort of counsel you into it. It's okay, you can get through it. So keep in mind the way you ask things is really going to prime how you, the answers that you get. It's pretty incredible. That's why there's so much communication stuff in the investing course here and the agent course, mostly to help you understand some of the psychology that goes into real estate. All right, so let's do another deal analysis here. I mean, I'm excited for you, Adam. Don't get me wrong, I'm excited for you. So keep chugging along. All right, first-time home buyer here. We just bought a house with $510,000 with 30% down, 4.25% fixed rate. We spent $50K on renovations. The goal is to have positive cash flow. I'm thinking we may have overpaid for the house renovation. How much would you have paid for the house? All right, so I mean, it's a little tough to do the after-the-fact deals, but let's see what you got here. So we've got a West Covina deal here, and the concern is, did we overpay for the property? They just closed escrow on it. It's a 1970s property, and you spent $50K on renovations. If there are no pictures here, it's going to be impossible for me to talk about the renovations. But let's do a quick Google here. I mean, as far as the location, it does not appear to be very yeah, buddy, at least from what I could tell right here. We're going to go a little bit faster here, mostly because, oh, here we have some pictures. Mostly because you already bought it. Let's see here. So you got the carpet throughout, the original cabinets, the wallpaper. Especially if you want to, usual here is probably going to be, I mean, this is a little weird, right? Look at this island. It's kind of like a music note coming out. So kind of interesting setup here, but definitely some opportunity to use some Rust-Oleum and do some painting, and maybe some new countertops, light fixtures, get rid of obviously the blinds and the wallpaper. So it does look, it has the potential of being a wedge, given the condition that it's in here. But you paid $510 for it. Let's go ahead and zoom into this deal. See if we can find this deal again. Let's go to recently sold listings. The address, we're going to pop that in again right here. Let's see. Usually I want to go picture in picture, but I don't think I can. Can I figure it out right now? Let's see. Can we go? So I work. That's all right. We'll stick with. You won't see me in the corner right now, but it doesn't matter. But I just changed it yesterday. Always try to make it better for you guys. All right, so we're here. These are where comps are. Let's see what we got. You got a 460 comp here from 2016. Pretty old comp, so don't care so much about that one. We got a $500,000 sale, which you basically matched for the same model. $500,000 sale that you matched for the same model house. That's not bad, given that was Feb of 2018. Even if values stayed flat, you probably paid about the same value as these guys. And let's see what their condition. Yeah, look, and their condition was no better than yours. Their condition was, look, it was the same thing, just as original. You had the same music note countertop, chicken wire fence. Everything here is the same. So that's actually not a bad comp to suggest that, probably along the same lines here. What else do we have? Here's a smaller one that sold in March. Not sure what's up with Zillow. My guess, in terms of not having pictures, my guess is this one's going to be a little bit more remodeled. It's almost 400 square feet smaller. And look at that. It's not even highly remodeled. I mean, what is this? Like a tiny little hallway or room or whatever that is. Okay, see, they updated the kitchen here. They did a little bit of flooring. The grass is dead. And they did some, that's it, basically. Flooring, grass, a couple can lights in the kitchen. So this kind of gives you an idea that back then this thing sold for 500, which probably gives you a value of closer today to maybe what 550, 560, which you're into the deal for about 560, 565 once you consider the renovation you spent. Not necessarily a terrible thing because now it's probably renovated the way you want. Did you have to spend as much? You know what? It doesn't matter. You already did, right? Let's see. We got a comp over here for 610. Let's see what this one is. So this one, you start getting into some larger neighborhoods over here. This one's 300 square feet larger. So let's see what the condition is of this one. This is going to be a tell for you in terms of value because look, this one is next to or across from, what is this, a school or some kind of commercial space. So I think you probably have a little bit more of a desirable location. Let's see what the quality was like on the inside. This one looks like it could be nice. We just got some good photos going on, good curb appeal. Look, it's nothing special, guys. It's nothing special. It's a remodeled place, but it's got basic carpet downstairs, right? So, and this one sold probably for a value compared to yours. If I just adjust it for square footage, yours being in the upper 1400s, this one being in the upper 1700s, that's 30 grand of value right there. So you're probably a 580 remodeled, but you probably remodeled nicer than this. If you did better than carpet and this basic ceramic tile, you updated the kitchen. Yeah, they have a pool. Just realize that's going to hurt a little bit, the dual paned windows. But I mean, bathrooms, basic, right? So your value could realistically be closer to 600K, depending on, did you get rid of the pink tile? Did you update the bathrooms? Yeah, you don't have the pool, but I mean, this is all